Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones. The topic today, Carolina football, as in Saturday's football power play. More on that in just a second. Quick reminder, if you would like to join forces with us and be a sponsor for our podcast and for a bunch of stuff on our site, our boards, inside content, etc., reach out. Let us know. We are looking for sponsors, actively looking for sponsors. Right now is a great time to join up with us because our numbers are exploding. We kicked you-know-what in the football coaching search. We were on top of it from day one. We never had to retract anything that we reported. You could have been involved in that. You could have been with us along for the ride. We didn't do a lot of podcasts on it because we weren't giving stuff away for free. Our paying subscribers who give us their hard-earned money were getting a lot of information others weren't getting. And you could be along the ride for that because it's not just in our premium content, it's with everything we do, including the podcast here. And right now is a great time with the beginning of the Bill Belichick era, with Carolina basketball really getting into the swing of things. A huge week coming up with the Tar Heels with Florida and UCLA. ACC play is just around the corner. So hop on board now. Let's work out a deal. Let's join forces. We'll help you. You can help us. So go ahead and reach out if you want to join forces. All right. Saturday's football power play. I probably would have done this drop for Monday, but I really wanted to get a basketball drop in there about the big men. So we pushed this to Tuesday, but it's okay because this, I think, carries a lot of weight and it's got a lot of shelf life. What we saw Saturday at halftime, the basketball game against LaSalle, was a football power play like we haven't seen before in Chapel Hill. So let me explain. Bill Belichick, who was introduced formally at a press conference Thursday as Carolina's new football coach, which is still something that a lot of us are processing. I'm going to sidebar here for a quick second. When you're in the middle, in the mud, so to speak, working on the search and you're covering it the way that we did, the way I did, I didn't see a lot of the national attention Carolina was getting. I have time for it. I saw a little, but didn't have a lot of time for it. I do know that friends from back home in D.C. were texting me about it. Man, they really going to get Belichick? So I knew it was obviously a very, very big deal. But when you're in the weeds, you don't always see all that stuff. You're just plowing forward, accumulating what sources are telling you. The world of discernment becomes your friend, your best friend, because that's what leads me anyway to put what I put on the boards and the occasional things we put out in public. So you have to kind of wait till after it happens to sit back and start to absorb the reality that Bill Belichick is North Carolina's coach and someone I'm going to have to cover now, which is pretty cool. However, it didn't require that to sit back at halftime. And I waited a few minutes before I went down to the press room. Usually I go down to the press room at halftime, get a drink, that kind of thing, get some water, Diet Coke, come back up. I waited a few minutes because Belichick came out, didn't say a whole lot because he's not a man of many words. Polar opposite of Mac Brown on so many levels. And that's neither good nor bad. It's just the way it is. And the way the crowd responded, you could see the buzz. A fellow sports writer actually talked to Seth Trimble. I didn't hear this. Talked to Seth Trimble about seeing Belichick. And Seth said he came through the tunnel before the team came out. And when they were going in, he was right there. And he was in awe of, here's a guy who has Roy Williams around all the time. He plays at the Dean Dome. I mean, it's Carolina basketball. They've seen MJ. And he was in awe of seeing Bill Belichick. So Belichick goes out, talks to the crowd. Everyone's on their feet. It was almost like the reality that this lottery that Carolina football has won was really settling in with the fans. And they were really feeling, okay, this is kind of who we are starting to be now. So he finishes, and then he introduces Bryce Baker. Baker is a young man from East Forsyth High School in Kernersville, committed to Carolina in the summer of 23. Unbelievable kid. When people start to get to know him, and if he ends up being the face of the program, people are going to love him. He's incredibly impressive, articulate, smart, respectful. He carries a lot of the similar qualities that Sam Howell and Drake May had. But guess what? He's rated higher than both. So what happens is Mac gets fired. Bryce is like, I got to look out for myself. So the weekend of the NC State game, he goes and takes a visit to Penn State. Smart move. LSU, who lost a quarterback that flipped to Michigan, desperate need for a quarterback. Brian Kelly's program charging hard on Bryce Baker. But he patiently waits to see who UNC is going to hire. It becomes Bill Belichick. They talk on the phone for like an hour. Bryce talks to his family. He's in Chapel Hill when he eventually reaffirms his commitment to North Carolina, and voila, there he is at halftime. He comes out. Not only is he introduced, he's given a microphone and he talks to the crowd. And he's comfortable doing it. He enrolls in a couple of weeks. Bill Belichick stands back. He doesn't put his arm around him and lather him up and all that kind of stuff. He stands back. Bryce Baker, mid-court, center court, he's talking. People wondered if Belichick could be a player's coach because Mac Brown's a player's coach. I think you saw right there Bill Belichick could be a player's coach in college. Bryce Baker's still in high school. Looks like they related pretty well. And that's a power play. I don't remember the last time a recruit. That's like out of a movie. I don't know if anybody, I'm dating myself here, and I do that a lot because honestly, I'm getting old. But there's a movie, Johnny Be Good or something like that. It was a high school football quarterback being recruited. It is totally over the top and outlandish. But it's the kind of movie where a kid would be recruited and he would address a massive crowd and people would be cheering for him and stuff. The kind of thing you would think was in Hollywood, it's not real life. When I watch sports movies, I'm picking at them all the time. I have a hard time because I'm always picking at the lack of reality. This was almost a lack of reality moment. However, it was reality. It was a football power play by North Carolina. Afterward, I go on down to the press room. I go get some water, or actually I got Diet Coke this time. I need caffeine these days. I go get a Diet Coke. I come back up. I may even had a 5-hour energy, to be honest with you. I come back up, and I'm on the concourse getting ready to go up to our seats. Media sits in section 212 rather. And there's Bryce Baker on the concourse, surrounded by a throng of fans, getting selfies. I've seen Carolina football players in the Smith Center walking on the concourse, popcorn, hot dog, whatever. People are walking by, no one stops them. I've seen big-time players do that, lots of them. I've seen Kamen Rucker on the concourse at the Smith Center just walking by, and he's just another dude in the concourse. But the shift in focus and in thinking, and my gosh, we really can be something, has occurred. It's that earthquake I've talked about since Mac was fired. That reshaping the foundation and the way people think about North Carolina football. I told you all that the day Mac was fired. And we're seeing it play out right before our eyes. That was a football power play Saturday. Belichick at halftime, that's one thing. He didn't go in there and say all these crazy things and be Joe rah-rah, just like he didn't try to win the press conference on Thursday. And because of that, I think he did win it. He's not promising anything that can't be delivered. And then here comes this quarterback. Yeah, let's let him talk. Why not? People are going crazy. There's some people in the building that maybe never heard of Bryce Baker. Now they do. Some may have even gotten a photo with him. He's a star, and he's not even in Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill hasn't had a lot of stars while they're there in Chapel Hill. One thing I love that Mac Brown did when he came in was he wanted his players to do a lot more interviews. Take the helmets off, be out there. Because people don't know what they look like when they're wearing their helmets. Make these guys stars more. Basketball players can walk around campus, everyone knows who they are, and they are stars. James Brown could go do a signing somewhere at a mall. People are going to show up because he's a Carolina basketball player. The shift is to start doing that with football. We saw that with Bryce Baker. And what I saw in the concourse with my own eyes, which was an organic thing, was wild. It was pretty wild. And it was North Carolina football. It looked Alabama-ish. It looked Ohio State-ish. And that's the point. It was a Carolina football power play. The last 2 weeks have been that. And quite frankly, before then. And you're seeing a shift in Football Focus in Chapel Hill, and every box is being checked. We saw that Saturday. I saw it with my own eyes. And I think it's a pretty wild thing. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this continues to evolve, because it's going to be fun to cover because it's different. A lot of different things to talk about, a lot of different things to write about. And for you guys as fans, you may have some stuff to cheer for that you haven't had to cheer for in a long time, and in some cases, never before. Reminder, if you want to join forces, we need sponsors. We're looking for sponsors. We're growing like crazy. We rock with content. We pump these videos out. We got 3 things you can sponsor. We got these daily drops you can sponsor. The football show, the basketball show, the recruiting shows. David Sisk and I have got to do more basketball shows. We've just got to align our time. You can be involved in all that, and it can work out very beneficially for you as well for us. Plus, you can become an insider. You join forces. You're part of us. Anyway, I'm AJ, and I appreciate you guys stopping by.